Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, we just got our closest look yet at the upcoming Fallout TV series that will be debuting on Amazon Prime in April. Cannot wait to have a look at this. The stuff here looks very, very interesting, very cool, and I am optimistic for the show based on this, so really happy to dive into this. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so yeah, we have an article on Vanity Fair that has been posted around and is linked down in the description as well. If you want to check it out, I would encourage you to do so, because obviously I'm not going to go through absolutely every detail here. We're going to go through the big stuff, but definitely worth a read. It's a good article. Yeah, cautiously optimistic so far. Obviously, there are a few things here that could constitute spoilers. So if you want to avoid that altogether, I would say don't read the article, maybe don't watch this video. But it's not massive, like, story-breaking spoilers, but there are a few reveals in here, so you may wish to be aware of that going in. Anyway, that out of the way, let's have a look at this article and have a little chatter about what's going on, because this looks very cool. So, first up, we have the Vanity Fair article. Fallout First Look, this is how the world ends with a smiling thumbs up. Now, I don't think that's so much a review as it is a comment on the contrast between the Vault Boy logo, you know, the smiling, colourful dude with his thumbs up, and the end of the world that the situation is in. So there's that. We're getting a vibe from this. And they basically said here that this is kind of falling in as a new piece added on to the existing lore and world of Fallout. So Todd Howard has confirmed in this article that this is going to be a canon story, which is cool. But it's not retelling any of the existing stuff. It is going somewhere entirely new, or a new set of situations, location, and people. So it's a new story in the Fallout world that's adding to the canon. So that's quite cool. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of pictures here that look really, really good. Some interesting contrast. It's seizing on the ideas that sort of played off in the game and bringing it to the screen in what looks, if they pull it off, to be a pretty cool way. So yeah, first up we have Ella Purnell, who is our main character, emerging from a vault, which is quite cool. Not terribly surprising there'd be a vault dweller. That kind of acts as your way in, a bit like the companion in Doctor Who, being your kind of real-world grounding for a more fantastic situation. So that's where her character's role comes in. We've got the backdrop of her leaving a vault there, which is quite cool. She's got a rucksack. We don't tend to get, well, we get them in Fallout 76, but not in most Fallout games. It blends in quite well with the vault suit as well. Interesting. Whole bunch of stuff about who's making it and the setting and the scene. Obviously, end of the world after a nuclear-obsessed 1940s-esque, 1950s-esque culture blows itself up. It's the general gist of the situation. There we go. Here we get a little look at early on. This is inside the vault from the look of things, because we know Ella Purnell's character, whose name I have now forgotten already, because, yeah, I'm like that. Lucy, there we go, that's her name. Emerging from the vault, so this is obviously before she leaves. I'm assuming before she leaves, because she's there with the Vault Overseer, who is her father. So, for those who've played Fallout 3, we're kind of going to be following the story of a martyr here. But not, obviously, if she was the one who left. So there we go. Carl McLachlan, quite a well-known actor. Been around for quite a while and done some really cool stuff. Yeah, interesting setting in the vault here. We've seen leaked shots from the sets before, and the vault's definitely captured pretty well. We'll see some other stuff that looks really impressively done as well in here in terms of set design and costumes and props and things. But yeah, there's definitely a really well-captured design of the vault. Circa more Fallout 4, I think, than Fallout 3, but you'd kind of expect that from the sort of resolution and hardware capabilities and things. And vault suits look more realistic than they do in the game, because they don't wrinkle in the game. Not very much, anyway. Obviously, IRL they do. So there we go. Some crisis forces Lucy out of the vault on some sort of rescue mission. Is slight spoiler, but that just explains why she leaves and ends up in the planet above, which is a hellscape crawling with giant insects, voracious mutant animal abominations, which is a new term, so maybe referring to a specific new creature. Who knows? But yeah, I could see the word being bandied around in that sort of scenario, so that's fine. And a population of sun-baked miscreants who make manners, morals, and hygiene of the gunslinging Old West look like Downton Abbey. So, raiders, in short. So we're going to see mutants and mutated animals and raiders. We know that. We know we're going to see a ghoul, but we'll get on to him in a minute. And they're using Lucy as an innocent, naive person who doesn't really know what's going on in the world as a way to bring the audience in. And also contrast with other characters and the extremeness of the post-nuclear world, which makes sense. So that's quite cool. We have a stunning shot of the Brotherhood of Steel marching along in T-60 power armor. The best power armor, except no substitutes. It looks absolutely fantastic. They've done an incredible job bringing that to life. And yeah, I have well established at this point my love for that particular design over all other designs as being the best looking one. And they have nailed it here. Look at that. That is so cool. Very, very impressed. Interesting thing, they are kind of adding something that I think will probably rub a few people the wrong way here, which I'm kind of fine with if they do it right, which is, as we are about to see, additional airships, vertibirds and airships. Now, where they got them, when they had them, the actual timing of this is, the setting seems to be even post-Fallout 4 in terms of its date. We did have the information somewhere here before. Where did we go? So, 219 years on. Alright, so it's about the same time as Fallout 4, actually. Maybe a year or two before. Take it all back. It's also on the west coast, so that's not the Prydwen. But we've got to admit, it does look rather like the Prydwen. So, yeah. Basically, it's the same design, kind of an airship. In fact, it's almost identical, but with an excellent CGI job, because there ain't no way they did that in real life, obviously. Creating this highly metallicized from the look of it, although I seem to remember the top of the Prydwen being less metallic. I can't really remember off the top of my head now. It's been a hot minute, actually, since I played Fallout 4. But yeah, they've got the vibe down. It looks really cool. And they've got this other section of the Brotherhood on the other side of the country with their own version. Maybe they heard about it. Maybe there was some kind of communication going on. Who knows? Hopefully they'll explain how this coincidence came into being, but it certainly looks very cool and is very imposing and creates... it does that whole thing of making the Brotherhood look powerful and intimidating compared to everybody else in the Wasteland, or almost everybody else anyway, which is kind of a role that they are supposed to play, so that's quite cool. It does that very effectively, and they're leaning into their military vibe. We have a name for it. What is that? I don't know how to say that. It's also very small. Caswinen? Something like that. It's one of a very, very short list of high technology things that are functioning in the post-apocalypse, which is interesting. But yeah, separate name there, so we know it's not the Prydwen. And it is on the other side, obviously, of the country. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff here about getting various people involved and who's actually worked on it. The showrunners, we've got a writer who was working on Captain Marvel in 2019, and a writer who worked on The Office and a number of other bits and pieces, also working as showrunners. So given that Fallout has a whole bunch of humour in contrast to its sort of extreme situation as well, having people with a comedy background, definitely a solid addition, I think. That's very, very cool. Here is, wow. You really get the vibe of the size and the scale they've gone for here with the power armor, and that looks incredible. It does highlight one potential thing that I have feelings about, but yeah, this looks absolutely amazing, and they've done an incredible job of creating it. And they've lent into something that was a thing from the art in Fallout 4. If I were to lean back here, that thing there is the art book from Fallout 4. I'm not going to dig it out because that's going to probably pull my entire shelf down. But, amongst other things, it's got a conversation here about the origin of the assault rifle from Fallout 4, which was a kind of an underutilized gun, same as 76 actually. But here it is, and the reason for its design, obviously you see bits of World War I sort of water-cooled jackets, machine guns in there, inspiring it. The reason for the design is to have a massive assault rifle that looks proportionally appropriate to the size of power armor, particularly the hands of a suit of power armor, which are not gloves, they are mechanical hands that you operate from inside somehow. Christ only knows how that works, but yeah, it does. So hence why we have a ridiculously huge, great assault rifle here, with a very strange design. But yeah, it does then look like a big-ass gun in proportion to hydraulically powered power armor. So we also have one of the characters here, and I think this guy is going to be more of a focus than the guy in the power armor, but we can't be entirely sure, as he is apparently a squire to the knight in power armor. which makes a certain amount of sense. Had squires in the past to help people get in and out of their armor and maintain it when they were wearing conventional armor. I can't imagine power armor is any easier to work with, really. I mean, I know the game works around that, but, it does make sense. And it's a way for people to come up in the Brotherhood. So this guy is, they seem to be leaning into the grey areas surrounding the Brotherhood, according to what they've written in here. And they might call themselves knights, but they're not exactly going to be shining beacons of chivalry from the sound of things. And this guy in particular is, from the sound of things, also a little bit of a Weasley fella. And less than stellar in his behaviour, apparently. So we'll see how that goes. So there we go. Here's some comments on it. Lucy's journey intersects with two other lead characters who are new to the universe as well. One of them is a wannabe soldier, Maximus, played by Aaron Moten. So that's this guy. This young chap here on the right. Who grew up above ground, but like Lucy was raised in a cloistered family of sorts, the Brotherhood of Steel. So he's got a little bit of his description here, or rather Jonah Nolan's. And yeah, basically sounds like they are sticking to the general vibe of Brotherhood, but also not going too far from the sound of it over towards them being really unpleasant, because on occasion they get that way, but also not going entirely over towards the Elder Lion's decent sort of Brotherhood that you see in Fallout 3. They're a bit more in the middle and a bit more of a grey ground, which is cool. I think that can hopefully please a lot of people if they pull that off. So moving on down, we come back over to Lucy. And Mini Diamond City, anybody? A tiny little scrappy village that people have built up using the remnants of aeroplanes and other things in the apocalypse in here. So yeah, this is obviously inspired by Diamond City. It even looks a bit like Diamond City. Shout out to Nate Perkypar for the awesome design work there. And yeah, I am quite impressed. Apparently this place is called Philly. God knows why. I assume there'll be a reference to that because it's a junkyard town in the sort of greater Los Angeles area, coupled together by survivors from scrap. You can see the sort of the downtown region on the horizon there as well. That's quite cool, the cityscape back there. I like this shot on the whole. It's obviously going to be much smaller than Diamond City is. I think from the look of this, the proportions make it look like it will probably be quite smaller, given that this looks to be the front entrance, that looks to be the back wall, and yeah, they don't look that far apart. So yeah, definitely down for that. That looks cool. That'll be an interesting thing to explore, and I'm guessing this is going to be a key location, at least early on. Jumping back a little bit to Max and his brotherhooded Knight Master person here. It comments on him serving as seemingly robotic figure of his master with the same naive faith that Lucy has in her vault dwellers. So he's a little bit drinking the company Kool-Aid, as it were, from the sound of things, Max here, which is interesting. And some of his less than stellar behaviour commented on there as well, but we will see. Scrolling down, we are starting to see the man himself, or more to the point, the ghoul, who has a name, kind of doesn't have a name. It's an interesting play on a lot of Western tropes there. And first impressions looking at this, pretty cool. There's another picture we'll get to see of him in a bit more detail. This is Walton Goggins as the ghoul, and that is a really cool shot. Definitely an interesting sort of Old West-esque character, with his clothes look really old and beaten up like he's had them for an extremely long time, which makes sense for a ghoul, because he will be in excess of 200 years old here. Very, very cool. And this looks like it might imply a gas station sign, maybe? It looks reminiscent of. And possibly in that town that we just saw in the previous shot, Philly or whatever it's called. It certainly fits that vibe. It's interesting, and he looks so cool. I'm impressed with the first impressions there. We know from this that he is going to be something of a wild card figure, a bounty hunter, which kind of fits in a little bit with the fact that Walton Goggins was in a number of, well, at least 2 westerns not so long ago, which is cool. He should be slipping into that role quite well. And he's apparently a scarred Rough Rider who has a code of honour, but has also got a ruthless streak. Bits of good, the bad, and the ugly coming out there, apparently. So that should be quite interesting. And they have apparently, as we'll see in just a moment, dialed back a little bit the appearance of the ghouls. And there's an interesting comment as to why. And I have mixed feelings, although I get it from a practical standpoint. the interesting thing is they're positioning the ghoul to be kind of the knowledgeable person who knows the wasteland, who has lived it for hundreds of years, who will be the opposite to the less experienced Lucy and, to a degree, Max as well. And he's the guy who knows all about the wasteland, is therefore going to be bringing the knowledge in. So that's kind of almost the similar Doctor Who structure. He would be the Doctor, only way less kind and nice. So, yeah. Loads of good commentary on Walton Goggins' background and stuff there, which is cool. The character looks quite interesting. Here's a better look at his face. Now, long-time fans will obviously get the immediate impression here that that is a much less scarred, beaten-up ghoul face than we normally see, which we were alluding to before. According to the article here, the major reason for that is that they wanted to create the vibe and feel of a ghoul, but at the same time, they also wanted you to be able to see the actor's performance and see his face moving, which makes a lot of sense in a TV or movie, but TV production. Obviously, in a video game, this isn't so much an issue because the skin is the skin. Obviously, in this case, it's a prosthetic over the real face, so practical. But that does mean they had to dial it down a bit, which is, I mean, it works. It certainly looks like a ghoul, especially with the nose. But at the same time, I kind of would have liked it to be more extreme, but having your cake and eating it is a bit difficult here, and they seem to have done their best at doing that. We'll see how it actually pans out in reality. So yeah, quite cool. And we get a little shot here of Ella Purnell standing around on set in the vault suit, looking toasty, actually. And yeah, back to my way earlier comments about the creases and the folds in it that don't appear in the game, but do here. Quite cool. And mind you, different vault suits, different eras. Some of them had more creases in than, say, the one in Vault 111, which was designed uniquely, and as each of them usually are for the vault they're from. Yeah, cool. Definitely interesting. And she's got a Pip-Boy. Leaning towards a mixture of Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 there, I think. I think the size looks more Fallout 3, but the layout is more Fallout 4, which is interesting. So yeah, lots and lots of very cool stuff in here. Loving the costume in particular for the ghoul. There's a bit more information in here about his name and his background, by the way, if you want to read the article. As I said before, linked down below. Interested to see how this pans out. Walton Goggins should be able to pull the character off if anybody can. He's well known for interesting and out there characters, so that's cool. Really loving the Philly Diamond City-esque location. They've brought that to life in a really cool looking way. Really captures that vibe very, very well. Power armor looks sick, as it should do. As long as they haven't overdone it and it's not everywhere, which I don't think they will do. That will be cool. I'll flash us to this, and we'll see how the airship works out. I'm guessing it won't be too dominant, but it'll probably have a role, so that's quite cool. More power armor. Scroll it back up again, and I get back to the vault. I'm wondering if we'll see more than one vault. That would be cool. Now, see some abandoned and destroyed ones, as well as the occupied one that Lucy's from, because the contrast would be interesting there. And there's Lucy emerging from Vault 33, I think that is. Can't remember what the number was. I think it's actually been published and mentioned and stuff in places, but yeah. All in all, very, very cool. I like a lot of this. One of the other things I haven't mentioned here that strikes me about this is I'm not completely sold on the lighting and the colour grading on this. Particularly with the Fallout games, lighting and colour really sell the tone and the setting, and that's obviously also true in cinema and TV as well. And I feel like they've gone relatively light touch on this, which is a choice. We'll have to see it in reality, but I feel like a lot of the lighting and the colour is maybe a little bit too light touch. Come back and look at the vault, not so much, but when you're looking at the outside, where's a good example? Well, yeah, here with the power armor, it's very normal looking, which kind of does make sense, but to get that end of the world vibe, a little bit of extra playing with the lighting and the color might have emphasized that a little bit better on that shot, which leans in the other direction, of course. And then we go very, very Wild West. Music will help a lot as well, conveying that tone. Yeah, this looks like the same town in the background where we presumably are going to meet the ghoul. So yeah, I'm not quite sure about the lighting and the colour grading. I might have pushed the stylers in and emphasised that a little bit more in were I in there, but we'll see how it comes out. Like, tastes and all that. Sometimes you can go too far with these things as well. But that's just my thoughts on it. Obviously, this Vanity Fair article, there is a whole bunch of stuff I haven't talked about in here and extra details, and I've skated over it quite a bit as well. If you do want to check it out for yourself, strongly encourage you do. Link down below. Do check it out. And yeah, definitely excited for this on April 13th when it comes to Amazon Prime. Can't wait. So, in the meantime, plenty more Fallout content related to the games on the channel if you're interested in checking that one out. We've got base building and live streams and all manner of stuff around that if you would like to check it out. Of course, Starfield content as well for Bethesda's newest game, going out into the sci-fi space exploration direction, which is good fun. Loving that at the moment. So do have a gander if you haven't already. Check out some of the new videos and things. And yeah, I will probably be talking more about this as we get nearer and nearer to the show as well. So do keep it here. For now, links to social media links down below, and merch store, channel memberships, anything like that. If you're interested in supporting the channel that way, massively appreciated. Like, subs, notification bell, all that good stuff. And yeah, live streams if you want to catch those going on through the week as well. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.